All right, we're going to dive straight into vigorous shoulders. So let's make fists, like we've got the elbows into the waist, and we're going to lift the shoulder blades up to the ears and then back down. So quite a vigorous movement up and down. And I want you to really concentrate on how it feels, that sensation of the shoulder blades gliding up and down the back, almost like stroking your back, having that awareness of the shoulders engaging to lift up and then your lats engaging to draw the shoulders back down. So you go as fast or slow as you wish, but a nice vigorous movement just to focus, waken up that area of the body. We can also have an element of shrugging and really like maybe gathering up the energy to lift the shoulders and then shrugging them down so that we're releasing tension as well as warming up the shoulder joint. So your pace, a couple of times more up and down. Let's try to keep the shoulder blades still quite close together. So we're getting a little bit of heat into the shoulders, the upper back now, and then a different movement. That's as if we're doing a chest press here. Feel the shoulder blades separate as the forearms come together, and then the shoulder blades coming together. So a few vigorous rounds of feeling. Now we're thinking about the shoulder blades gliding around the sides of the body. At the same time, let's still try to keep the shoulders down away from the ears. And you can take this a nice gliding slow pace if you like. But I, for one, have someone who holds tension around my neck and shoulders, and actually going a little bit more vigorously helps me to release tension there. So last couple of times, and then we'll take it into a shoulder roll. So you can hold the shoulders and draw big circles, shoulders back and down. We can breathe in, elbows forwards, up. Breathing out, shoulders back and down. Add on a little movement in the head, so you can release the neck here. Last 2 times. Deep breathing. Beautiful. Lateral flexion of the spine. Let's reach up with one hand, knees are soft, down with the other, and stretch. Switch. Stretch. This came from, it's such a, I mean, it's an obvious kind of side bend, but it came from one of my favourite yogic teachers, Rocky Heron, who's linked with Yoga International. And he likes to think of the idea of someone pulling your arm up so you get that extra stretch down the side of the body, side to side. And then we'll be switching back to Pilates for a roll down, but then combining it with that yoga flat back. So it will look like this, chin to chest, flexing from the top of the spine. Here, shoulder blades separate, rolling all the way down into a ragdoll fold, pausing for a moment, and then as if we're doing that yoga sun salutations flat back, let's find a 90-degree angle between the legs and the spine, and coming all the way up, so that will engage your core. So we chin to chest, we roll down. You can use your hands on the backs of the legs to give the backs of the legs a squeeze, gently drawing your belly towards your thigh, and then coming to that flat back fold. More intense, arms in line with the ears coming up. And let's have 2 more like that. Chin to chest, giving a good squeeze to the backs of the legs. It's not just for self-massage, but it's also, we are intensifying that feedback loop between the brain, the muscles, the senses. So we're really focusing on the feelings inside the body. Last time like this, and then we're going to reverse the direction. So this time, we'll take the arms overhead, engage your core. We're coming into a flat back fold. So just feel your pelvis rolling over the thigh bone, really holding in those core muscles, finding that long line, and then all the way down to the ankles, rolling up through the spine. So rebuilding from the base up this time. Arms overhead, flat back fold, bringing the front ribs together, navel to spine, stretching into the fingertips all the way to the floor, and then rolling up through the spine. So less intensity, because with the arms by the side, hands can be on the hips. Coming into a flat back fold, crown of the head towards the floor, and then rolling up through the spine. Let's have one last one on this side in this direction. Flat back fold, stretch down to the ankles. You can soften the knees to roll up through the spine. Last spine preparation, rotation. Let's take our legs wide. Just checking that the knees track over the toes. So just take a moment to bend the knees and make sure we haven't turned the feet out too far. All right, shoulders back and down. As we bend the knees, so we're not thinking about the tailbone pointing down towards the floor rather than the chest coming forward. It's a different exercise. So along through the spine, we take a bend into the knees and we come up. Now comes the twist. So as we take a bend into the knees, I'm mirroring your left hand to the right shoulder, and we take a twist. The right arm offering on with the palm facing up. So we take that side to side. Breathe in center, breathe out, taking the twist, tailbone down to the floor. And if we can, let's again think about the position of the shoulder blade. So as I take the twist, the shoulder blade is gliding around to the back. I'll be pausing there, always coming back up to the top with straight legs for a reset. Let's see if we can go right to the end of that exhalation, so that we're really now pulling in those core muscles. So not just the front ribs coming together, navel to spine. Feel that work into the shoulder blades, but here we're helping the shoulders to drop. Almost feel as though every time we take the twist, we're helping to slot the shoulder blades into back pockets. Want to keep the chin back, so if I were to stand against the wall, the back of the head, the back of the pelvis will be in that same vertical line. Last time each side. Try to engage your glutes. Your medial glutes will contract, and that will help open the knees, that inner thigh stretch. On my last side. And open. We're going to go for leg swings to shrug out the shoulders. We think about taking the weight into your right foot and then swinging the left. If you're near a wall, you can place a finger there. We want to shrug out, but also get a little bit of movement into the leg. Nothing too ballistic, too wild, just within your range. A couple of times forwards and backwards, and then to hit the outer hip, we slightly bend the knee and swing in front of the body. As well work the waist by swinging the arms as well. So your balance, very much challenged here, so feel free to tap down every now and then. Last movement for the hip, a big circle, so gliding round, forwards and backwards. We're gearing up to a balance, but as you know, most of you with me, it's all about the transition rather than coming into a balance as such. The transition is where we get the strength. Let's take it to the other side. So weight down to your left foot, swinging the other leg forwards and backwards. So we've already started to get a stretch into the hamstrings. Now just taking a little bit further with a little bit more movement. Yet release as I'm kind of shrugging out from the hip, knee, ankle. It's a nice floppy but wide movement. Arms helping me with balance, working in opposition. Side to side, so we'll bend the knee and take the leg side to side. So again, find your wall, even just a finger on the wall can be enough to stabilize. Feeling a little stretch in the outer hip. Arms can go in the opposite direction. Shoulders down. And then let's take like a rond de jambe with the leg all the way around, forwards and backwards. So while you take 3 more of those, let me talk you through how we'll use this. So we'll take a step forwards into one foot. We'll bend the knee, engage the core, and then we'll start to lift the back leg. Only as we lift, we'll straighten the leg. Then reversing that movement, we'll bend the knee, find the floor, and step back and take it to the other side. So if you want to join me now, doesn't matter which leg you start with first, it's more about that transition of weight. So step forwards, bending the front knee, keeping the back toe on the floor as long as it takes to feel that I fully have transferred the weight to the front leg before we lift. Rebending, tap down and switch. Let's take that side to side. I'm going to give you options. We can either stay here with the toe on the floor and work on zipping up the core, or you can go ahead and lift the back leg, working towards a warrior three. But always rebending, slowly transitioning till the foot's back on the floor till we switch. So more care, more time taken over that transition. That's what will serve you in the long run. That's what's going to really strengthen your ankle. Working on your concentration, I mean, it can reduce your stress just because you can't really stress about anything else when you're concentrating on not falling. I'm going to give you another option because there are different levels and I want you to feel you've got something you can work with. We're either keeping the back toe on the floor, coming up to a warrior three, or you go ahead and take it into standing splits, maybe the fingers find the floor. But we will again need to bend that standing leg, engage the core to come back up and switch legs. So finding a level, working your pace, but mindfully. The transitions, the most important. Anything else if we're working on our warrior three, Virabhadrasana three, or the splits, that's kind of bells on top. Let's have one more each side. Level yourself out. If you can remember which one you started off with. So the way we go into this, initially with a bent knee, it almost gives us a sense of kind of growing organically into the balance. I'm on my last side now. I start with a bent knee, and as if I'm coming in to the center point, my core's engaged, and then slowly, as I feel more confident, I'm reaching out away from that center of balance before coming back in again. There we go. All right, let's shake out the legs so the can shake out. Really well done. Amazing. We're going to kind of take a pyramid stance. There are three positions we'll take, and then we'll try and loop them. As everyone step your right foot forwards. Now, pyramid, the hips are square to the front. It's natural for the back foot to want to go out a little bit just to help us with balance. See if you can dial the left hip forwards and the toes forwards. So the first one, very much about promoting flexibility in your hamstrings. Let's have the hands on hips, shoulders back and down. And we take that forward tilt to the pelvis as we fold over the front leg. No forcing hamstrings, a little bit temperamental, you don't want to force it. And then coming back up. Let's try that one once more. To really feel that gliding the pelvis over your femur, shoulders back and down. So we're leading the movement from that tilt in the pelvis, rather than collapsing down through the spine, just to get the nose closer to the leg. The next one. So that's both legs straight. Now we're going for both knees bending. Let's lift the back heel and bend both knees. And let's try and keep the upper body upright. We want to find a lengthening and release. Knees, hip flexors here, the top of your left leg, lengthening down to the knee, and then drawing your back up again. Let's try that one again. At the top, squeezing the glutes, bottom tucked. Both knees bend, upper body very upright. Okay, and the last one, only the front knee bends. So we're in a lunge. Right hand to the back of the body, left arm up and over. So natty baby stretch. Stretch nicely over this hip. And reach. Release out again just to check in. This is hand at the back is helping to tilt the pelvis under and then stretching up and over the body. Okay, let's loop those three. Legs straight. Option, take the arms overhead or keep them on your hips. Engaging your core, the pelvis tips forwards, and we come into that hamstring folding, and then coming back up. We're bending both knees, as if you're on a pull-up bar, shoulders back and down, pulling shoulders into the back pockets, both knees bend. We're stretching the hip flexors, squeeze down. Now the front knee only bends, and we reach up and over the body for a stretch. Let's have one more loop of that. Arms overhead or on your hips, coming into a fold. Both knees will bend. If the arms are overhead, pull them energetically down, bottom tucking, getting a nice stretch into the quads, right down to the knees. And then that stretch overhead, knee lunge, being forward at the front and reaching up and over. Beautiful. On to the other side. So let's step forward, finding that pyramid position. We'll do 2 of each just to warm up on this side. So first of all, it's pelvic tilt. We'll come into a forward fold. And then back upright again. So we'll do one more like that. Just feel how the stretch takes. Feel that movement all the way down the back of the leg, the lengthening, and then back up. We're bending both knees. Hip flexor stretch, tuck the bottom under, both knees bend. Doesn't need to come all the way down to the floor. Just control and lifting the upper body. Try that one again. So front ribs are together. Again, we've got that long vertical line from the base of the spine up into the crown of the head. Only the front knee bends, and let's reach up and over. This hand, your left hand, is reminding the tailbone to point down to the floor. Stretch. Release once more. And reaching up and over. Okay, both legs straight. Hands are on, the hips are overhead. A breath in, zip up the front of the body and come into a fold. And up. Both knees bend, shoulders back and down long through the spine. And up. Support the lower back with your left hand and reach up and over as we bend the front knee. Yummy stretch. Let's take that again. Arms are overhead or on the hips. Feel that stretch down the back of the leg. Back to upright. Both knees bend. Fists. Power arms, power fists. And then we stretch up and over. So bending the front knee and reach up and over. Beautiful. That concludes our standing work. We're ready to come down to the floor. Just give the legs a little bit of a shake out. We'll lower the camera. We'll come onto all fours. We'll start with cat-cow, and I'm going to give you an option of taking it to an up dog, down dog. But let's all start with cat-cow. So initially, shoulders over the wrists, knees, ankles at distance apart, and release those toes. Let's breathe in into the gut and stick the bottom out. Breathing out, chin to chest here. Separate the shoulder blades. Press the heels of the hands into the floor and tuck the bottom under, shrinking your waist and chin into the chest. 2 more. Breathing into the gut, stretch even the throat. And the breath out, chin to chest, round the back. Empty the lungs. So last time, if you want to try the up dog, down dog, otherwise stick with cat-cow, and you can always take a child pose. If you're ready, tuck the toes under, and we can always start just with a down dog, pedaling it through. But then we can think about lifting the heels high, and almost like a ripple from the base of the spine. So you're then puffing up around the kidneys, the mid-back, as the body weight slowly shifts forward, in around the shoulder blades, and we come to a plank initially. And then we take it back again, chin to chest, press into the floor, lift shoulder blades up to the ceiling, the mid-back, the lower back, heels are high, and then settle the heels back down. So a flow like a wave, initially flat back with the heels high, lower back, mid, upper, body weight comes forwards, and only if you feel ready from a plank, we can take it into an up dog before reversing chin to chest, feeling that flow down the back of the body till the heels come back down. So just remembering, we maybe just took a down dog to feel the shape. We can then take it back to a cat-cow, so just finding what level. Also, this might be a little bit tough, challenging on your wrists, so be kind, patient, be prepared to take it back to a child pose if that's better for you. Wherever you are, take either another cat-cow or a nice big movement down the whole of the back of the body. Last time, your version. And then we'll be coming on to our bellies. Great, so let's lower the knees. As if we were taking a locust, and again, I'm obsessed with opening across the chest. We'll be lying on our bellies, and I want you to have the arms quite close to the body. And let's think about thumbs up to the ceiling. See the knife edge and the little finger on the floor. And I'm looking up at you just so you can see me. So I'm going to lift the upper body and think about the thumb lifting up. Very tempting to lift the elbow because it's easier. Your forehead can stay on the floor, but let's take a few rounds of lifting those thumbs up. Maybe the elbows float up, but the emphasis is on the thumbs lifting and lowering. Engage the core, tuck the bottom under, pelvis into the floor, and rise up. So all that work earlier on of drawing the shoulders back and down and slotting the shoulder blades into those back pockets, come back to that sense of opening, peeling the shoulders back away from the floor and slotting those shoulder blades into those deep pockets. And rising up. This has to be one of the least popular exercises because we find it so hard to stick with it for your posture and even confidence. As soon as we start to give into that rounding in the shoulders, really affects how we feel about ourselves. It's feeling nicely open across the chest. Elbows are strongly into the waist here. Last two, squeezing up. Remember, emphasis on the thumbs. If you find the elbows are coming up, your shoulders have dropped, switch the emphasis, elbows down, thumbs up. Last time. And then take a child pose. So here, where we have inevitably extended the spine, we'll have a little bit of stress in the lower back. So you want to give yourself time just to melt down over those thighs just for a moment. While I talk you through our next. And coming onto our backs, we'll start by hugging the knees into the chest. We're going to take a phased approach to curling up to strengthen the core. This very prescriptive way of curling up comes from the Forest Yoga discipline, which I really like. We're going to start by holding the head in the hands, elbows curling around the head, so we create a really strong, supportive hammock for the head. So we're going to start first of all with the feet on the floor. I'll quickly give you an option to come to tabletop. Well, let's get the order first. Take a breath in, and then as you breathe out, tilt the pelvis so you imprint the lower spine. See how that curls the hips, they're almost off the floor, but not quite enough engaging the core. Once we have that engagement, then we'll curl up towards the belly button. We stay there until the lungs are empty, and then we release and come down to breathe in. Breathing out, imprint. And breathing out, emptying the lungs, curling up. Release as we breathe in, retilt, engage, breathing out until there's no lungs, no air left in the lungs. So if that's pretty easy for you, we do the same from the tabletop. Every time the head touches the floor, we re-imprint the spine. As though you're trying to nail your navel through your spine into the floor. Find that engagement and then curling up, staying there until there's no air left. Breathing in to release. In case you've released the tension there, re-tuck, re-engage, and then breathing out fully, going into the lift. Squeeze, and then release. Retilt. Breathing out to lift. So if you're finding that you're arching the spine in between, you can come back to feet on the floor, or maybe the knees a bit closer into the chest. For more of a challenge, you take the legs further away. And make sure you're still able to imprint your lower spine. The out breath, using to lift maybe a little bit higher. Two more here. So the front ribs are coming together, navel to spine. Last time. Re-engage. And then lift. Squeeze. Not yanking on the neck, just taking support into the hands rather than straining deeper into the neck. and then cuddle the knees into the chest. When I said last, it wasn't strictly true, because then we'll go on to the obliques. Remember, we can still come back to the feet on the floor. So take a breath to the back, tilt the pelvis, zip up your core, and as you breathe out, we're reaching for the outside of the knee. So it's still curling up, but then over to the side, till you feel your oblique muscles, the side of your waist, contracting to help lift you, and then breathing into release. In case you've let go of that core, re-engage and take it to the other side. See if we can keep the jaw soft. Sometimes we're concentrating so hard here that we start clenching the teeth. Alternating sides. See if you can actually picture, or like a heat map, see if you can feel which parts of the body is engaging to facilitate the movement. Last 2 times. Squeeze, feel that into the side of the body. So bonus last round, or hug the knees into the chest, you decide. Wonderful. To release out the chest and leave with a really nice open chest, and come onto the forearms. We can have the palms facing upwards. Again, options. You can either have the feet wide and use this as an opportunity to windscreen wide and drop the knees side to side. But let's now do this, thinking about the heart space, lifting up to the ceiling. So nice and open from one shoulder to the other. And we have the option of massaging the glutes here. So if you feel you want to have a little bit more work, but a nice nurturing kind of work, we'll come to tabletop and we glide from one bottom cheek across to the other. If you've done any walking or running or any gym work, you'll feel that into your glutes. Just a little can sway with the knees. So here I'm arching the back a little bit, so I'm right into the fleshy part of my bottom cheeks to give them a good massage. Same time, I'm still opening across the chest. My elbows quite close together behind the back. If you've still got some fuel left in the tank, we can add a little can extension of the legs. Wonderful. We're just going to take the glute stretch, little hamstring stretch. And who'd have thought, that's 30 minutes already. So let's place the right foot on the left thigh, opening the knee out to the side. Threading the hands through and then taking a gentle rock side to side until you locate that sweet spot, nice stretch in the glutes, and then pause there. With a sigh of relief, you can breathe out through the mouth, finding softening head to toe. One more breath on this side. And then the same leg, the top leg, extend the leg up to the ceiling. Hold the back of the leg and lightly pull in towards the chest just for a hamstring stretch. Shoulders down, chin's tucked. And then switch legs. Start with a figure 4 stretch, the other ankle on top. Foot's flexed, knee out to the side. You can even press into the top of the leg to roll the inner thigh up to the ceiling before threading through, and then a gentle rock side to side. I like to use my elbow to deepen that inner thigh stretch, the external rotation of the top hip, and rocking, tipping over just like a nice stretch. And then going deeply into the breath, nice deep breath in through the nose and an audible, lovely, long out breath. Letting the shoulders drop, the jaw relax, maybe think a smile. And then the same leg extending up to the ceiling, walking the hands up and getting a light stretch, nothing aggressive, into the back of the leg. A good rub, squeeze, if that's nice. Hug the knees into the chest, a little rock on the spine. You can take a few rounds of rolling on the spine, just waking up the spine for the rest of the day. Otherwise, sitting, and that's half an hour, my goodness.